Hello everyone, it's Truds here and today we're bringing you another Destiny 2 video. If you've been keeping up to date with the channel recently, you'll know all about the crazy fun builds we've been putting together, and today it's no different. The seasonal artifact mods are very strong this season, especially the final tier exotic style perks that you can unlock. Now unfortunately, it only lets you unlock 2 on that final tier, which is a bit of a letdown as it makes the interchangeability of some of the builds limited to say the least. Nonetheless, we kick on and make the builds as good as we can. Today we are back again with Tyrants Surge and Lightning Strikes Twice. These two mods have incredible synergy in top tier arc subclass builds, with Tyrants Surge generating a Warmind Cell when dealing arc, melee, grenade or super damage, and Lightning Strikes Twice buffs your grenade recharge rate when you throw an arc grenade, which increases when causing arc damage. Now as we go on, you might think these are strange choices given the style of play and build that we are going for. However, the uptime and therefore the charge rate of your melee and grenade abilities is vital to keeping this one rolling, because without one, the other simply cannot exist. The exotic we are pairing with this build today is a somewhat forgotten one, but one that is still incredibly useful in endgame content. Getaway Artist, the Warlock exotic gauntlets which came during the Revelry in year 2. Getaway Artists provide us with the intrinsic perk Dynamic Duo, where you consume your arc grenade to create a supercharged arc soul. This arc soul then operates as an autonomous turret. Effectively, this ups the fire rate and damage from the basic Stormcaller arc soul. It lasts for 20 seconds too, which is nice, and there's a few tips and tricks you can do with this build to extend this even longer. So obviously Stormcaller is the way we are going here, and we are going to be blatantly obvious with the bottom tree attunement of the elements. This one gives us a lot of intrinsic benefits when paired with Getaway Artist, but we'll get to these perks and how they line up in just a second. Firstly, I want to set up the rest of the build for you so that the synergy within it is easy to see. So in PvE, we are going to be taking advantage of the new Warmind bunker mods again. The Strength of Rasputin mod allows you to collect Warmind cells you create to give back a chunk of your melee ability. This provides you about a third of your ability energy back and is very useful here when paired with bottom tree Stormcaller, in fact with just about any build too. Lastly, we've got Modular Lightning, which creates a burst of chaining arc energy when you collect a Warmind Cell. Given that this is such a mid to close range build, the bonus damage of this mod is very effective, but you could instead use Sheltering Energy to provide you with an overshield when collecting a Warmind Cell for that added bit of protection. Finally, you want to max out your discipline stat as high as possible to get that magic 32 second cooldown for your arc grenade and ultimately your arc soul. Now for PvP activities, you want to change the Warmind Cell mods for either the Powerful Friends Season of Dawn mod to buff your mobility, or Spec into Recovery to buff your Rift cooldown. Now how I was running this build was by first up consuming my arc grenade to start the chain off with a supercharged arc soul. I'd use this to increase my initial damage output in any engagement. Then we start to make use of Tyrants Surge and the Strength of Rasputin mod. By using your arc melee ability, Rising Storm, not only will it generate a Warmind Cell thanks to Tyrants Surge, but it also recharges your melee, grenade and ability energy too. Now simply collect the Warmind Cell you've just created to refund some melee ability energy utilising the Strength of Rasputin mod. Any enemies nearby will be either cleaned up or damaged by the Modular Lightning mod, or you get an overshield if you use the Sheltering Energy one. Lastly, as your arc soul is nearing its end, you can now drop a Rift. Now I've gone for an Empowering Rift to increase my damage output even further. Your Rifts last longer thanks to the Electrostatic Surge perk, and they recharge quicker when near to allies as well. Now on summoning the Rift, your arc soul will instantly recharge the full 20 second time limit, and it will stay capped at the 20 second time limit for as long as you stay in the Rift. You can even step in and out of the Rift to instantly recharge this time, allowing you for nearly a minute of supercharged Arc Souls when it's all said and done. This is all thanks to the Arc Soul perk on the Stormcaller tree, so even though you can pair this build with middle or top tree, you won't get this extension of the supercharged Arc Soul unless you run the bottom tree specifically. In and amongst all of this, your grenade will have recharged, so if you've still got the maximum uptime on your Arc Soul thanks to your Rift, you can actually now use your grenade to finish off any nearby enemies. This will then proc Lightning Strikes twice, buffing grenade recharge rate, and this will increase when you cause further arc damage with the Arc Soul and any other abilities or weapons in your loadout. All in all, by the time your Arc Soul and Rift are fully used up, it'll be time to start the whole cycle again. Just keep an eye out on the tooltips that show on the lower left of the screen to help you know what stage you can take advantage of. Arc Soul is the main one on the tooltip icon, but the stat boost icon is related to Lightning Strikes twice and your grenade recharge rate. So make sure to maximise your arc damage output at this point to make sure you get that grenade fully charged as soon as possible so you can use Arc Soul again. So what weapons do we want to use with this? Well, any arc ones are perfect, especially for the final step of this build, but honestly, anything goes, as this one is ultimately tied solely to your abilities and the Arc Soul provided by Getaway Artist. I used this build to do multiple legendary lost sectors solo, killing the champions using sidearms, swords and hand cannons respectively with the seasonal champion mods. It's also very handy in the Nightfall Ordeal, because if your team is set up with the correct mods across the board, you can utilise a near normal loadout of high DPS, energy and power weapons like Izanagi's or Xenophage. Plus, in match made content, you can give your team Arc Souls when they pass through your rifts, so it's a great passive build no matter the level of the content. One thing that I didn't test out with this, but one that I know would work very well, would be if a teammate was using Sanguine Alchemy. This Warlock exotic chest piece has had a rework of its Blood Magic exotic perk, which allows for rifts to be extended when killing enemies whilst inside it, which could effectively extend your Arc Soul indefinitely. That's one to keep an eye on for sure, especially with Grandmaster Nightfalls right around the corner. Now obviously, this build is geared towards PvE content quite heavily, and I'm not going to lie, I had a tough time getting this one going in PvP. That's not to say it doesn't work, as I had lots of positive games, but I just couldn't get the synergy to blend on a regular basis, and so my game flow just fell off. I guess if you paired it with the meta at the minute, you'd have some success more often, but the turret does give your position away more noticeably, so there's that to bear in mind. Depending on the map choice for trials, this could also be a viable option if Stormcaller is your go-to. Again, with all the builds I put out, it's just a skeleton for you to start and experiment with. Mix and match other Warmind Cells to your preference if you want to cause extra damage or debuff enemies. The world is your oyster. So that's it with this one. Let me know in the comment section what you think of these seasonal mods and builds, and if there's any that you've had fun with. As always, the support here lately has been incredible, so thank you very much for that again. If you're new here, please hit subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, and a rating down below is always greatly appreciated. We've got more build videos coming up soon, so be sure to keep an eye out for them. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.